This video is an important must watch for anyone with jaw clenching, teeth grinding, headaches, or jaw pain. And I'm going to be showing you the main cause of this problem. So it's really important to stay tuned with me, and you're going to learn so much about your pain. And at the end, what I'd like you to do is come back to me and let me know, out of the 5 images that I'm going to be showing you, which of these resembles the pain that you're getting. So stay tuned, have a look at the images, come back to me and let me know which one resonates with you the most. So my name is Ellie Lindsay, and I'm a massage therapist who gets people out of pain from clenching and grinding. And I do this both in my clinic and online as well. So what we're going to be talking about in this video number 1, which is part of a 4-part series, is the first thing that you need to know about jaw clenching, jaw tension, headaches, and all of those symptoms that come along with grinding your teeth and clenching your jaw. So I'm going to be showing you some images soon, and they're going to show you some pain patterns that are caused by trigger points. But first, we're just going to talk about what trigger points are. So trigger points, if you haven't heard of them, they are taut bands of muscle. So what that means is you get kind of the muscle fibers should just spread like this, open and close, as we move our mouth, as we move our neck, as we move our head or anywhere in our body. But sometimes those fibers can get stuck together. And this has quite a lot of causes, which we'll go through in the following videos. But all you need to know for now is that sometimes fibers get stuck together like this. And once that happens, other fibers start feeding into it. And before you know it, you've got a kind of lump there, or a knot, you might call it, or some people call it like a nodule or an adhesion. And what that is the muscle fibers actually getting all stuck together. Now, the reason why this is so important for us is that those nodules, those trigger points, actually cause referred pain. So what referred pain means is that if you're feeling pain somewhere, the cause is actually coming from somewhere else. And that's what we're going to be covering in depth in this video. So I'm going to be showing you some images of muscles soon, and I'm going to be talking about each one individually and how trigger points in these particular muscles cause pain in other areas. And I'm going to be showing you the pain patterns that they cause. So what you need to know, first of all, is that this often doesn't get spoken about. Hardly anyone that comes to me has heard of trigger points before I educate them on it. So this is like a really big missing puzzle piece from the way that pain is dealt with. And trigger points are actually kind of discovered in a way in the 1950s by a doctor who was actually treating JFK. She was his private doctor, and he brought her to the White House because she was so effective at managing his pain. And then she later, along with another doctor, published a manual showing all of these trigger point patterns. And, here we are 70 years later, and that information really still hasn't sort of dripped down into the mainstream system. It's really kind of people like me that are really forcing through this education of trigger points, because it's so important in pain. I can't stress that enough, how relevant trigger points are. So without further ado, I will just show you some of the pain patterns that are associated with trigger points. So first of all, we have this one here. So this muscle here is called upper trapezius. And if you can see my mouse here, this is the muscle that's in question. So it attaches at the base of your skull, and then it comes out and it attaches again, the other end of it attaches at your shoulder here and your collarbone. So it comes forward, that's actually your collarbone, and there's your kind of shoulder joint there. Now, This one is so common for causing jaw pain and headaches. It's actually like my go-to. It's the one that I always start with when I'm treating this condition. So the X's just mark where the trigger points might be. They could be further up. So don't pay too much attention to the X's here, but it does sort of highlight where the muscle is. And this is the sort of pain pattern that it causes. So it causes pain up the neck. The darker red indicates the sort of more pain, basically. And then you may get pain around here, but you might not feel that so much. That's why that's sort of speckly. And then this bit here, so just above the eyebrow in the sort of temple area, that can cause like massive headaches there. It can feel like a migraine. In fact, it has many symptoms of a migraine, such as you might have that feeling in your eye as well of, you know, like vision disturbances or pain sort of around your eye area. And this is really interesting because upper trapezius also causes pain in the jaw area here, so referred pain in the jaw. So the thing is with pain is that tension comes along with it. So if we've got pain in our jaw, it's going to become tense. And if we've got tension in our jaw, we're much more likely to be clenching and grinding our jaw to try and actually relieve that tension. So this is a really key muscle, upper trapezius. It causes headaches around this sort of area and it causes pain in the jaw. And it doesn't have to be both. You know, you could have one or the other, or you could have both. And it also causes this sort of like a stiff neck feeling as well. And, you know, either pain in the neck or just that feeling that the neck feels really restricted. So that's upper trapezius. And remember how I said, can you feed back to me and let me know which muscle most resonates with you, which pain pattern? So if this one resonates with you, if you feel like you get headaches around this area, and you have jaw pain and your neck might feel a bit stiff and maybe you don't have as much ability to move your neck as you used to have, then that is likely upper trapezius is involved. So this is number one. So if you see, I'll put the numbers up in the corner here. So this is muscle number one. So if this one feels most relevant to you, come back to me and let me know it's number one. Okay, then we're just going to move on to this one. So this is a crazy pain pattern. This is a muscle called sternocleidomastoid, shortens to the SCM. So you may or you may not have heard of the SCM before. So first, let's just talk about where it is, because it's a funny muscle. And it attaches just behind your ear here, somewhere called the mastoid process. And then it comes forwards and this part of it attaches here to your clavicle, your breastbone. And then this part comes down and attaches to this part attaches to your sternum, your breastbone. This part attaches to your clavicle, your collarbone here. And these X's just mark the places where like you may have trigger points in this muscle. So if you want to locate that in yourself, if you just have like a feel around of your this area here, you might feel something that's quite like hard, and sometimes it sticks out quite a lot on people and it's quite prominent, and it can often feel like a bone, or it can feel like it's a tendon or something like that. It's quite difficult sometimes for people to get their head around the fact that it's actually a muscle. So it starts just here, and then it comes forwards and attaches here. And if you turn your head, like you might be able to see mine just pop out slightly here. Okay, so let's go back and have a look at the pain that this muscle causes. So as you can see, it's a really crazy pain pattern. This muscle is responsible for so much pain. So one of my clients recently she has trigger points in this muscle, and she's really suffering with vertigo and dizziness. And that can often come from this muscle here. So let's talk about the pain first. So trigger points in this muscle can cause pain right at the back of the head there. So if you get those headaches that are just sort of like they feel a bit random, sort of behind your ear here, then the SCM is likely involved in that. if you get this is a horrible headache and really migrainey, this headache, where it just comes like around your eye like that, and you might get some, as I said, vision disturbances or maybe aura. As you can see, it also causes pain just under the jaw there, which is interesting. And then if we have a look at this pattern as well, which is part of the same muscle, it can cause ear pain. So if you get sort of tinnitus or like muffled ears or anything like that, then this muscle is really responsible for that. And it can also cause this major headache just above the eye. And this can be so strong, it can spread to both sides. So if you've got a problem with one SCM having trigger points, it can actually cause a headache on both sides of your head. So not only can the SCM cause headaches, but it can also cause things like ear ringing, sinus issues. If we have a look at this part of the pattern here, you can see that it also causes that pain in the front of the jaw, just in front of the ear, in the jaw there as well. Also, if you're susceptible to things like your eyes tearing for no reason, that can, or dry cough, that can also be coming from this SCM muscle. So this one is huge, it's major, and it's really involved in so many issues. A lot of that is to do with our posture, but we'll talk about that in another video. So this is muscle number 2. So when you're getting back to me, if any of these pain patterns resonate with you, you're going to say number 2 is sort of describes your symptoms the best. Next, we have the suboccipitals. So I haven't done a very good job of actually showing you an image that shows you where they are. I've only shown you the pain pattern. So let me show you on myself. So the suboccipitals are a group of muscles, and they sit between the base of your skull and your neck. So they're sort of in this region here, and there's a group of them that we have 4 on each side here. And trigger points in those muscles can really cause this band style headache around your head. So let's just show you that picture again. As you can see, this really kind of band style, and that can be both sides as well. You can have that both sides. So it just feels like, a lot of people describe this to me like a sort of clamp or a vice on their head, as if something's really pushing their head. And sometimes it's not even described as a headache. It's just this feeling of like tightness and restriction in the head. What's also really key here, if we're thinking about jaw pain and jaw tension, is that through these muscles at the base of the skull, the trigeminal nerve, which feeds the jaw, actually has to pass through these muscles. So if you imagine that these muscles might have restrictions in them, which the cause of which we'll go over when we're talking a bit more about posture, if you imagine that these muscles have those restrictions, that nerve can then not pass as freely as it would like to. And that can really impact the nerve health and actually have an impact on the pain that we're feeling from that nerve later on in its chain, which is around the jaw area. So we're going to move on. Oh, so sorry, this is number 3. So if this resonates with you, perhaps you're getting sort of nerve style pain in your jaw, or you're getting those kind of clamping vice style headaches, then when you come back to me, you're going to say number 3 resonates with you. Okay, so we're really getting into the meat of the jaw now. So the masseter. So I think this one's probably going to resonate with quite a lot of you. So trigger points in the masseter can cause this crazy pattern here. So the masseter actually sits inside of our jaws, and we can feel it if you clench your jaw. Put your hands on your cheeks here, clench your jaw together, and you'll feel it pop out, and that's the masseter. There's no real way of mistaking that. That's exactly where you're in exactly the right place. So as you can see from this diagram here, the sort of pain that you can get from the masseter. You can get earache. That could actually manifest more like ear ringing or a sort of stuffy feeling in your ear. You can get a headache that kind of comes up above your eye here, and you can get pain going all the way along the jaw here. So if you've got pain that kind of spreads out all the way along the jaw area. And one that is really kind of critical and key is this pain in the teeth, because I've had a few people come to me that have actually had their teeth removed to try and get rid of this pain, and there's been no problems with the teeth at all. And unfortunately, the pain has continued and they've lost their teeth because the problem is actually coming from the masseter and these trigger points in the masseter. So, you know, when I'm saying to you that this information is just not reaching people, stories like this just really break my heart, really, that people have actually been through a procedure, lost their teeth permanently, and it could have been resolved so easily with some trigger point therapy to the masseter muscle, along with, you know, some other techniques that we'll cover in other videos. So yeah, that's what I mean when I say that, how important it is for this information to reach people, because this is people's lives. You know, going to have more than one tooth removed is not something to just mess around with. So that's why I'm just so passionate about spreading this message. Sorry, ran over about that. Let's carry on. So the other thing that it's really important to know about the masseter is that not only does it cause referred pain by having these trigger points in the masseter, but it also causes a lot of dysfunction in the muscle itself. Now, when you clench your teeth and when you clench your jaw and when you grind your teeth, often not only does that cause more tension in the jaw, but it's actually often it's your muscles actually trying to release themselves by clenching. So it's kind of like they don't know what else to do because they feel they've got these trigger points in them. They feel so tight and restricted that they just want to release. And that's one of the reasons why they actually sort of tighten up and clench and grind, that sort of movement as well, as if they're trying to release themselves. So it's a bit of a vicious cycle, because having this dysfunction in the jaw actually goes on and on, creating more and more dysfunction in itself. And, you know, it's not that difficult to actually resolve these problems either, which is really key to know. Okay, and the last, that one's number 4. So come back to me and let me know if number 4, the masseter, really resonates with you. Then we've got one more, which is the temporalis. So the temporalis is this big, you can see it's sort of grey in the background here. It's this big grey muscle, and it's grey on the picture, and it sits in this fan-like structure just above your ear. But what you might not realise is that this muscle here, the temporalis, that sits around here, is actually a jaw muscle. It has a tendon that comes down and it attaches to the jaw joint here. So it is actually heavily involved, along with the masseter, on the open and the close and everything else of the jaw. So it helps with eating, chewing, yawning, talking, all of that, which might seem strange because the muscle's actually up here. But once you get your head around that, then this diagram will make a little bit more sense. So trigger points in the temporalis cause sort of pain around that area, which I've just shown you where that area is, and also this sort of almost sinusy type pain around here, and then pain in the upper molars, so the upper teeth here, and it can actually even go more forward to that, into the front teeth. But I generally, in my experience, it's generally more the molars, the back top molars, that experience that pain. And again, this can actually be the cause of clenching and grinding, because if that muscle is tight with restrictions and trigger points, then those muscles can be trying to actually release themselves, and therefore it makes us clench and grind more. But actually that's a sort of cycle that we can't really get out of and that we need to try and break. So that one was number 5, the temporalis. So I'm going to whiz through them again so that you can then come back to me and let me know which of these muscles pain patterns resonates with you the most. Okay, and it can be more than one, that's fine. Maybe it's all of them, that's fine, but let me know that as well. So I'm going to go back to the beginning and we'll go over them again so you've got the numbers. So number 1, upper trapezius. Number 2, the SCM. Don't try and spell that. And number 3, the suboccipitals. You can just give me the number as well. You don't need to worry about the spelling of these muscles. Number 4, the masseter. Or number 5, the temporalis. Okay, so that's your homework now. You need to come back to me and let me know which of these pain patterns feels like what you are experiencing. So you might just come back and say 1, 3, and 5, or maybe 4 and 5, or, you know, just number 1. So come back to me, let me know that, and then I can move you on to the next step of this training.